Nadia collapsed to her knees on the dusty front porch of her late father's house as Auntie Sandra raised her slipper high and brought it down again. Pain flashed across Nadia's cheek. The sun above was harsh, unforgiving. Jerry bent over her at once, wrapping his arms around her shoulders, trying to shield her body. His shirt was already smeared with dust. At the gate stood Uncle Namdi, a heavy padlock clenched in his fist, his jaw tight, his eyes like cold stone. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains and half-open doors, pretending not to stare. "You will not disgrace this family, Nadia," Auntie Sandra screamed, her voice shaking with fury. "You witch! After killing your parents, you go and marry a poor homeless man without our consent." Nadia's ears rang. Jerry tightened his grip on her hand. Their 2 old travel bags lay torn open on the ground, spilling a few clothes and a single framed photograph. Nadia's breath caught when she saw it her parents, Amicia and Margaret, smiling at the beach just a year before the accident. "You will not live in this house and bring shame with one poor gateman." The other uncle, silent and stern, dragged their bags toward the gate and flung them onto the road. The bags hit the ground with dull thuds. Someone gasped. "I'm not even sure you are our brother's daughter," Uncle Namdi added coldly. "Go away with your homeless man. Find somewhere else to stay where people won't laugh at us." Tears burned in Nadia's eyes, but she did not scream. She squeezed Jerry's hand and whispered, "Broken, please. We have nowhere to go." Auntie Sandra lifted the slipper one last time. "You are too small to destroy this family." Silence followed, thick and heavy, broken only by a baby crying somewhere down the street. Through the bars she could still see the mango tree in the yard, the one her father planted when she was 5. She could almost smell the soap she used to wash the corridor floors. "Jerry," she whispered, shaking, "what do we do?" He looked at her the way he always did, gentle, steady, unafraid. He brushed dust from her shoulder. "Stand up, my love," he said softly. "We will be okay." "How?" she asked, her voice trembling. "We have no place, no money." She swallowed hard. What if they're right? The courthouse, her simple white dress, Jerry's neat shirt, his old black shoes shined with palm oil. They had held hands and signed the papers. No music, no feast, but it felt safe, honest. "You'll build apps for children in the village." They had come home planning to cook rice and beans and laugh about their wedding feast. Now they stood on the road with bruised faces, 2 bags, and a locked gate separating them from everything she had ever known. Nadia bent down and picked the photo of her parents from the dust, wiping it gently with her dress. Before the slaps, there had been dreams. She used to sit beneath the mango tree with her father's old laptop, half the keys missing, teaching neighborhood boys how to count using a little game she built on Scratch. She wanted to make learning friendly, bright, possible. A phone call that emptied the house forever. After the burial, her uncles arrived, speaking of property and what was right. They wanted to sell the house. Nadia refused. A graduate, still searching for a better job, working as a security guard, for now. He shared bread with children without being asked. He listened to her talk about code and dreams and laughed at her bad jokes. "I don't have much yet," he told her once, "but I have plans, and I have you." Jerry suddenly straightened and reached into one of the bags. His voice changed, not louder, not proud, just firm, controlled. "Cars," Nadia whispered. "What cars? Who is David?" "The world, you see," he said gently, "is not the whole world. Please trust me for a few more minutes." 3 black SUVs turned the corner, gliding down the street like shadows made of glass. They stopped in front of the gate. A driver stepped out, dressed in black, and bowed slightly to Jerry. "Sir," he said, "we came as fast as we could." Curtains fluttered. Someone dropped a spoon inside a nearby house. "There is a part of my life I hid," he said softly. "I hid it to find something real." He gestured toward the cars. "Please come with me. I will explain everything." Her legs felt weak. Her heart thundered. "Who are you, Jerry?" she whispered. He lifted her bag like it weighed nothing and offered her his hand. Nadia stood between a locked past and an unknown future. Inside, the leather seats embraced her. As the car rolled away, Nadia stared at her husband, no longer just a security guard, no longer just a dreamer, but still the man who held her hand. "You said you were a security guard," Nadia whispered, her voice shaking. Jerry inhaled slowly and reached for her hand. "I am Jerry," he said gently. "That part never changed. But what I didn't tell you is that I'm also the CEO of Gentech." Gentech, the name almost caught in her throat. Everyone in Nigeria knew it was the company behind digital learning platforms, banking systems, and school tools used across Africa. A billionaire empire. Its CEO was spoken of like a myth. Jerry looked out through the tinted window for a moment, then back at her. Because money blinds people, he said quietly. Status blinds people. Every woman I met wanted the billionaire, not the man. I wanted someone who would choose me without the cars, without the houses, without the name. So I hid. I stripped myself of everything and worked as a gateman for months. Tears filled her eyes as memories rushed back, sitting under the mango tree, telling him about her dreams, her broken laptop, her desire to build learning apps for children. She had chosen him because he listened, because he believed in her when he looked like he had nothing. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Say nothing, he replied softly, brushing her fingers. Just know, this sigh meant every promise. You will go to school. You will build your dream. Her tears spilled freely. She leaned into him, trembling. They beat us, Jerry, she cried. They threw us out like trash. They don't deserve the truth, he said firmly. Not yet. Her chest tightened. This was where billionaires lived, streets so clean they gleamed, gates guarded by armed men, mansions taller than her father's wildest dreams. The car slowed before a palace of white stone and glass, tall pillars, golden gates, a fountain dancing in the driveway, roses spread wider than the entire compound she grew up in. Nadia froze, her heart pounding. Jerry placed a hand on her shoulder. She turned to him, tears still clinging to her lashes. It's real, he said softly. And it's yours. Inside, the mansion glowed crystal chandeliers, marble floors, a staircase curling upward like something from a dream. I don't belong here, she whispered. You belong with me, and this is my world. From today, it's our world. Just hours ago, she had been kneeling in dust. Rest tonight. Tomorrow, I'll show you the study. I've already spoken to the university. You're going to study software engineering, Nadia. You're going to live your dream. She clutched his shirt, sobbing. I don't deserve this. A heavy knock thundered through the golden doors. Nadia, a familiar voice boomed. Open this door now. The pounding echoed again, fierce and furious. But Jerry, Nadia whispered. They followed us. Auntie Sandra's shrill voice pierced through the door. Shameless girl. Come out before we drag you out ourselves. Jerry raised his hand. A guard pressed a button. There they were, Uncle Namdi, sweating with rage. Auntie Sandra gripping her slipper. Neighbors clustered behind them, whispering. I can't face them, Nadia whispered. You won't, Jerry said. They'll face me. He strode forward and pressed another button. The golden doors swung open slowly. Jerry stood tall in the doorway, calm, commanding. Auntie Sandra lunged forward. Bring her out. She belongs to us. Jerry raised his hand. Two guards stepped forward, rifles gleaming. Silence fell. This is my home, Jerry said, voice sharp as steel. My wife is inside, and you, behind him. Something inside Nadia shifted. Tears still on her face, but her back straight. How dare you stand there like a queen? I am not your shame, she said, her voice steady. And I am not your property. The neighbors gasped. For the first time in her life, Nadia did not kneel. Nadia's lips trembled, but she lifted her chin. For the first time, her voice did not shake. I married a man who loves me, she said clearly. Not money, not status, love. She looked at Jerry, then back at them. And I will not leave him. A murmur spread through the crowd. Some neighbors nodded, others whispered. Uncle Namdi's face darkened. Ungrateful orphan. After we clothed you, fed you, you humiliated me. Nadia cut in, her voice rising. You called me trash because I married the man I loved. And now you stand here demanding I crawl back. Her voice cracked, but her eyes stayed steady. No more, uncle, no more. Jerry stepped forward, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. His voice was combat deadly. You've heard her. Leave now, or I'll make sure you never come near us again. Uncle Namdi opened his mouth to reply. Headlights suddenly flooded the driveway. Another car pulled in sleek silver, bearing a government emblem. The murmurs grew louder. A man stepped out, dressed in a crisp white agbada, his cap perfectly tilted. His face was unmistakable. Chief Aidwale, one of the wealthiest men in Lagos, a powerful businessman, a longtime partner of Jim. He walked straight to Jerry and shook his hand warmly. Ah, Jerry, I heard you returned earlier than expected. I had to stop by. His eyes moved to Nadia, softening. And this must be your wife. Beautiful. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Auntie Sandra's slipper nearly slipped from her foot. Uncle Namdi's knees wobbled. Chief Aidwell glanced at them, frowning. "And who are these people shouting at your gate like market women?" Jerry smiled thinly. "Relatives, soon to be strangers." The chief laughed, slapping Jerry's back. "Good. Cut off weeds early, or they choke the garden." The words landed like stones. Shame crept across Auntie Sandra's face as the neighbors stared. Slowly, the crowd began to disperse, but Sandra leaned close to her husband and whispered loud enough for Nadia to hear. "This is not over. That girl will pay. If not today, another day." A chill ran through Nadia that night. The mansion was silent, glowing with soft chandelier light, but Nadia could not sleep. Jerry lay beside her, one arm protectively around her waist, trusting the guards, the walls, the cameras. But Nadia knew her aunt and uncle. They never accepted defeat. Across town, in a dim room lit by a flickering kerosene lamp, Auntie Sandra paced like a wounded animal. "You saw it yourself," she hissed. "Cars, guards. That boy isn't a gate man. He's powerful. And now the whole street is laughing at us." Double quotes. Uncle Namdi rubbed his jaw. "We thought we destroyed them. Instead, we pushed them into glory." Sandra slammed the table. "Then we destroy them again. Properly." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "We can't fight him with money, but reputation, that can be poisoned." Sandra's lips curled into a cruel smile. "We'll tell the world he bewitched her, that he trapped her. Nigerians love scandal more than truth. Let's bury them with lies." Back in Banana Island, Nadia whispered a prayer by the window. Moments later, a soft knock came. Her heart stopped. A maid stood outside, eyes lowered. "Madame, you need to see this." The television was already on. Breaking news. On the screen, Auntie Sandra, crying dramatically into microphones. "My brother's daughter has been stolen," she sobbed. "This man pretended to be poor to deceive her. He has imprisoned her in that mansion." Nadia gasped. By morning, social media was on fire. Billionaire CEO accused of brainwashing orphan bride. Nadia's hands shook as she read the comments. Jerry entered calmly, took her hands, and spoke firmly. "A lie runs fast, but truth walks steadily, and it always arrives." At the press conference, just as Jerry began to speak, a voice cut through the crowd. "Stop this charade." Auntie Sandra and Uncle Namdi pushed forward, holding up a worn brown envelope. "We have proof," Sandra shouted. "Proof that Nadia is a thief." Silence fell. She tore open the envelope, waving papers wildly. "Her father left her money. She ran away to cheat us." Nadia's world spun. Jerry stepped forward and took the papers. "These are forged," he said calmly. He lifted one page. "This will is dated 2 years after her father died." Another page. "This bank logo hasn't existed for 5 years." Cameras flashed. Sandra's hands began to shake, and the truth at last had arrived. Jerry's voice hardened, cutting through the hall. "No," he said firmly. "You are lying. And worse, you have tormented this young woman for years. You beat her. You starved her. You called her an orphan. You spat on her marriage. Yet she stayed silent, protecting your dignity." He stepped closer. "Today, your lies end." The hall exploded with noise. Reporters shouted. Neighbors nodded fiercely. Some clapped. Chief Aidwell stood, pointing at Sandra and Namdi. "Shame on you. Instead of protecting the child your brother left behind, you made her life a nightmare. And now you tried to destroy her again. Wickedness has no mask strong enough to hide forever." Sandra's face collapsed. Namdi, once loud and proud, shrunk back like a beaten dog. Microphones crowded them. "Why did you lie? Did you forge the documents yourself? Have you been stealing her inheritance?" They tried to escape, but cameras followed. Their pride melted into disgrace before the entire nation. Nadia stood frozen, tears sliding down her cheeks. Jerry turned to her, gently wiping her face with his thumb. "You're free now," he whispered. "No more chains." Her chest heaved. For the first time in her life, she believed it. 7 years later, a black car turned onto the old street. Nadia looked out the window. The ache returned. The dusty road, the leaning fence, the mango tree branch reaching over the wall. Her parents' house was gone, sold, repainted in loud colors that did not belong to her memories. Jerry met the new owner, a kind man who knew nothing of her past. Jerry offered 50 million. The man's eyes widened. He agreed immediately. That week, bulldozers came. Nadia stood in a hard hat, watching the walls fall. She didn't mourn the bricks. She honored the love that once lived inside them. Mema and Margaret. Steel rose. Glass followed. A courtyard opened to the sky. A clinic, a library, a coding lab, a warm dining hall. When it was finished, a sign stood at the gate: the Emma and Margaret Foundation, Education, Health, Family Support for Orphans and Widows on launch day. Children sang in neat uniforms. Widows received care packs and small grants. Nurses checked blood pressure. Tablets lit up the coding lab. No luxury, just light, air, love. Nadia cut the ribbon with trembling hands. "This is for my parents," she said into the microphone. "May no child feel alone. May no widow sleep in fear." A hush fell. At the gate stood two figures in faded clothes, Auntie Sandra and Uncle Namdi. Time had humbled them. They walked forward and knelt. "We were wrong," Sandra cried. "We were cruel. Forgive us." Namdi bowed. "We let envy rule us. We're sorry." Jerry's hand rested lightly on Nadia's back. She remembered the slaps, the padlock, the dust. She also remembered her mother's words: "Bitterness is poison. Forgiveness is a door." "I forgive you," Nadia said calmly. Sandra sobbed. Namdi touched his forehead to the ground. "But hear me," Nadia added firmly. "Forgiveness does not reopen the old door. You will not control me. You will not hurt me again. This is how my heart heals." Applause rose soft, then powerful. That evening, under a quiet sky, Nadia, Jerry, and little Emma walked through the cemetery. Two headstones waited beneath a tree. Emma, Okafor, beloved father; Margaret Okafor, beloved mother. Nadia placed white flowers. Baby Emma dropped his tiny bunch with a laugh. "We kept the dream," Nadia whispered. "We built a place of help, not hurt." Jerry knelt. "Thank you for trusting me," he said softly. "I will protect your daughter always." A butterfly danced past. Baby Emma laughed. "We came from ashes," Nadia whispered, "but we chose light." They walked away, not running from the past, but carrying it with grace. That night, on the mansion balcony, peace wrapped around her. "All my life I was called an orphan," Nadia said softly. "Tonight, I feel like a daughter again, and maybe a mother to many." Jerry kissed her forehead. "I'm honored to stand beside you." She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was shining. What do you think about this story? Where are you watching from? If you enjoyed it, like, comment, share, and subscribe.